what are we going to do? Now they look back in their history. Recent. Okay. They said to themselves, I love this. This part. They said to themselves, quote, let us seek a prince who may rule over us and judge us according to law. We like, in our society, so overall, here are these people. Huh? Now, I love how they put this, and it's great. So basically, at least they got together and they're like, you know what, we're sick of this. Basically, someone realized we need one prince. We need someone to rule over us. The most important thing that they were thrived for was order. What brings order and justice? No, not justice, but what brings order, especially? Small, simple word. Law. They need law. As people, as individuals, we have individual laws, don't we? We call them morals. Like, I ain't gonna do that, ever. You set a goal for yourself. It's not really a goal, but a moral. I don't believe that. That's absurd. I mean, doing it. I know I'm better than that. It's the same thing here when it comes to law. We're better than that. We need something to rule over us. We need order. With order comes prosperity. With order comes development. And this is extremely true. Order does bring development. It brings development, it brings prosperity, and it brings overall happiness even in a lot of aspects. Now, if we continue this, they asked a group of Vikings called the Rus. Just to some of them, called Swedes or others Normands, Angles and Goths, for their thus named. Huns and Slavs because they're said to be people of Rus. They invite them. They send them a message. You know, it's like the whole thing that happens in Canada. Everybody goes from the east to the west. Think about this. Here's a good comparison. Here's a good. It's very similar almost. Our land is great and rich, but there is no order in it. Come to rule and reign over us. End quote. This is out of the primary source, the Russian primary chronicle, or the years of the Begone years. The thing is that really fascinates me the most here is the fact that they asked them to rule over them. You know, it's kind of obscene to actually see throughout history that, oh, hey, you guys want to come out and rule over us? It's kind of, you know, this could it be true? Could they actually ask for this? Could there have been a group of people that actually suggested this? I strongly believe yes. The evidence suggests that, like throughout history, there's always a speculation. There's always suspicion. There's always, I don't know, this is a really hard line between truth and fiction. But the thing is, logically, this would make sense. It may have happened. It's like those blips in time. Like, did Jesus, was that great of a man that he sent forth a religion? Yeah. Yeah, you know. Was Muhammad that great of a prophet he set forth a new religion? Yeah. Well, Muhammad didn't perform miracles. Jesus did, here's the thing. Did he really? Hey, we don't really know. But we saw their faith. The thing when it really comes down to it is, with the Russian people, is the ideals of Russian society. This is where it all starts. The Vikings became the high elite. They looked at this invitation as, you can imagine what these, if this actually happened, which I actually do believe in a sense, but I think they just got invaded. And they wanted to put a tone on it. You know, we're a little bit better than that. We asked them to come in. Yeah, you know that masculine integrity that a lot of people, a lot of guys have. It's like, yeah, I'm the best. Yeah, I did it. Yeah. You know, no, it was all me. It was all me, man. I went in there and I did it. Hey, they're human beings. Alright, these monks, yeah, they would have been steeped in religion and ritual and utmost mighty to the Almighty. But here's the thing. They're also human beings. When they were writing this, you can imagine, well, we're not going to look at this as an invasion, alright? We're better than that. We're going to say we invited them to come in because there's just chaos and disorder. No matter the way you look at it, on one side, if you look at it, they were disorganized. It's like these shows you see on TV, like Hoarders. Well, that guy likes the crappy stuff. He's well not organized. So you gotta get someone, you invite someone in, and most of the time you ever look at these Hoarders, I don't want to get rid of this stuff. For many reasons, right? But they're forced to. And you ever look at the interviews, it's like, yeah, they came and they helped me, but no, I did it all on my own, no, it was my decision. It's almost the same thing as if they're writing the Primary Chronicle, right? Like, oh, we're going to write down, yeah, they invaded us, but, you know, we're just going to, we were disorganized. That looks a little bit better, don't it? Instead of someone coming in and taking it away from us, we're going to say, yeah, we invited them to actually do it. So, with the Vikings, the Varangians came in and said, hey, we're going to do this. Why not? So, and the beauty about this is that, let's say they accepted it. They probably came in with an army. So this actually happens, okay? But the whole real logical aspect of this, the Vikings were actually coming into this area and setting up tributes because they wanted to get the main goal, like most people at the time, was Constantinople, the greatest and richest city in the world. If you wanted to have economic power and connections, you went to Constantinople. This was the city of the world. This was the center of the earth. This was the center of civilization and everything that was important. If you wanted it in China, India, or Western Europe, or even Africa, and all parts of the world, chances are you could find in Constantinople. And eventually it would end up there and be traded. And actually united the world. Economics united the world, and you had a transfer of cultures and a whole introduction, as much as, most importantly, you had a transfer and debates over knowledge, which is really, really cool. So, that's what the Vikings did. They raided all throughout the North Sea. We know the Vikings when they discovered North America. We know that western expansion. What I'm more concerned with the Vikings is the eastern-southern expansion, which was right out of their integrity. But truly, they established a lot of trading posts down towards Constantinople. Okay? But at the same time, human nature, what's going to happen? They're going to intermingle. They're going to marry. They're going to have pretty much, they're going to mate. You know, they're going to have a lot of sexual encounters. They're going to have families and marry. And so you have this united of bloodlines and cultures. And eventually they get thinned out into the mostly dominated Slavic and Finnish population. So, either or, well, that's usually what happens. But they do come in. We know this for a fact that the Vikings established these trading posts and these settlements. And people start thriving around these trading posts and starting to develop townships. You know? Villas, if you will. Communes to a certain extent. Not massive cities like Constantinople at the time, but in that part of the globe, these were actually probably, in a lot of people's minds, were major centers. Cities to them. You know, even has maybe 5,000 people lived there, but back then that was huge. That was huge, okay? So, they asked them to rule over them. So, they did this. Now here's the little catch at the end of this. They thus sent 3 brothers. It's almost like turning into a legend. Something mythological, right? Something, a mythological story. They sent 3 brothers. Ready?